Hey friends, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie, and today we're back with another installment of my Destash series. This one is obviously going to be going over a lot of the lighter blues in my collection, so let's just get into it. All right, friends, so we are back at the workspace. So let me start by pulling out all of my light blues for now and see how much space it takes up, because I just have a feeling this is probably going to be like my greens all over again. But let's get into the time lapse. Okay, so I had started by taking out, the majority of the lighter blues in like my spring and summer drawers, but I saw that it was, I mean, don't get me wrong, it obviously takes up like the whole frame, but it wasn't as much as I was expecting in a way. So then I went back to take out everything. So let me see if I could just like quickly zoom out. So yeah, hopefully here you can see just how much, sorry, that's my phone stand, but just how much I have where, yeah, the majority of the lighter ones are here and then the darker shades are off to the side. Since I don't have as much time today, even though I probably could get this all done if I really committed, I just kind of don't want to do that. So I am going to put the darker shades on the floor, save that for another day. That way I can just focus on the lighter shades. It's just one of those days where mentally I just want to deal with as little as possible. And while I usually am, very problem solving and whatever, it'll just be easier to get through like a smaller chunk today. So hopefully you guys don't mind that. Okay, so I'm back now. And now that I moved my darker blues out of the way, I'm like, wow, that pile was so small. It's much smaller than the lighter blues. But in the process of moving them, as I mentioned, I was putting them on the floor. So this, of course, is my fault. But one of my polishes fell, of course. It was a mooncap bottle. And yeah, that was the first time that I had a polish fall and break on me. And unfortunately, it kind of made a mess on my carpet. I still have a little bit of a mess on my hands. You can probably see like the shimmers. So, I did what I could for right now. My bandwidth is very limited, but I'm okay. There's no well, obviously there was broken glass, but not like shattered little tiny pieces or anything. So, it's fine. So we're gonna keep it moving. And let's start, as always, by categorizing the lighter kind of blues that I have. I think it'll be easier to start by taking out, or like not taking out, just separating the more vibrant, like cobalty kind of shade, just because the bulk of them are more of this like lighter aqua sort of color. And I feel like that's just gonna be more of a headache to, organize or whatever. Okay, so these are separated enough for me. So I have a couple of the like light powdery sky blues getting into like brighter shades, and then slightly more aqua, like not teal, but they look teal, like they're very green leaning, compared to the rest of the blues. And then a couple of other like shades that I don't really know what to do with. And then off to the side over here, I have the brighter like cobalt ones, and then those like wintry icy ones, which I'll just deal with after. Starting with these four, let's just get these kind of out of the way. We have Olivav's Cloudy, which funny enough just kind of looks white, but it has like a drop a whisper of blue, if you will. Then Essie's Borrowed in Blue, which hopefully you can see my fill line. It's like way down there. Then we have Holo Taco's Skipping Stones from the Cottagecore collection and Cracked Twiggy Blue. I feel like these are all different enough that I want to keep them all. I mean, I want to keep the Essie because it's like I'm so close to finishing it. I don't remember the last time I wore it necessarily. I feel like for a while I would also create these like little canvases that I would paint like with nail polish. So I used Essie's Borrowed in Blue for this little painting here because I was like, oh, well, you know, I have so much polish, I'm not really using it as often with like actually painting my nails. So I figured I could use it in, you know, a different way. So I haven't really painted my nails with this in a while, but it's just, you know, so close to being done, I might as well keep it. Might seem silly to keep Cloudy because let me show you, just next to like a pure white, for example, it's like so close, right? I'm not denying the fact that this is barely blue. This is probably one of those shades that should be on the chopping block because I should just reach for a white, but I'm gonna keep it for now. Then let's do these like sky blue creams here because I don't know, there's just like not that many of them. Oh, well, I do also have like Essie, which is kind of a sky blue. Oh, man, this is gonna be really hard because I love these shades. This is China Glaze's Cuba Diving, which is like one of my favorites. This Essie Ride the Sound Wave, also so stunning. It's just like so vibrant for a sky blue, a bit more white base than Mooncat's Sinking Feeling, for example, or even Holo Taco's Too Good to Be Blue. If anything, these are a bit more similar. Maybe I'll set aside the Holo Taco just because I've used that one less. But I like the color, but it's like, you know what, in my mind, I'm just gonna say that they're basically dupes. So, you know, just to not have too many multiples because I feel like I'm going to end up keeping a good amount of these. Even with China Glaze's Cuba Diving, it's kind of similar to this color department, which is called Hydrated. The color department shades are usually a little bit more on like the crelly side, and China Glaze, you know, is more creamy. Between these two, the only other like somewhat, no, not really. The only other somewhat similar shade maybe is Nails Ink Mila. This is more of like a teal, aqua kind of color, a little bit more green leaning, right? But still just so gorgeous. Actually, did I already pull this out compared to OPI's like I'm Yacht Leaving? I don't think so. Yeah, no, see, this one is like way more, this is like more of a true teal. This is like more aqua. They're different enough that I would keep those. Some other creams I know for sure I want to keep are the Olive Ave ones. I mean, these are more like periwinkle leaning. This is Genie and Cornflower. I'm keeping them, and same goes for Shiala and LA Looks. LA Looks is another like tried and true. I think this is actually a dupe for another China Glaze. I don't know if it was the same one from this collection or a different one. I forget what it was called, but I just remember doing, you know, my side-by-side comparison on the nail, and it was really hard to tell them apart. So this one was from the collection last summer, and at first I wasn't like super crazy about it, but I actually have grown to just really like it. It's just such a like true sky blue shade and just so vibrant, so pretty. A little bit darker, you know, than something like Mooncat's Sinking Feeling, but then a lot lighter than like a more kind of cobalt blue. This is a better color reference, Sally Hansen's Pacific Blue. So, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's just such a stunning shade. So I want to keep that. I know there's a lot that I want to keep, right? Like I said before, but there is a shade that I think I do want to get rid of. It's an Island Pea shade, which I know is crazy. There's honestly maybe even two, but the first one that I want to pull out is Pool Party, which is from the Summer Nights collection. love the collection in general, love this like, you know, kind of finish, but this is one of those shades that I feel like a lot of people are like, oh my god, yeah, you should get Pool Party, it's so pretty, but I just don't see it. I don't like, not that I think it's like ugly, right, but it doesn't do it for me the way that like other polishes do. I don't know if it's like the shade of the blue base or just like the shimmer, because the shimmer kind of looks, you know, like a reddish pink color, and I usually like those shades, but yeah, this is just one of those that doesn't do it for me, so I will set that aside. And the other shade that's like, you know, I'm kind of thinking about it, I think I will keep it for now to like give it a proper chance. But the other shade I'm thinking of is Island Peas Bluebell, which is from the Wildflowers collection last year. I, again, love this finish. I especially love it in Fairy Dust and Flower Child. And while it is nice to have a blue option, especially because like blue and orange are, you know, complementary colors, you would think that it's like, whoa, this is the one. But I don't know, I just don't like this one as much as Fairy Dust. But I know it's still beautiful. Like, it's objectively a beautiful polish. I do like this more than Pool Party, but yeah, I kind of, you know, want to give it another chance, see if it's one that I like really love. But I kind of feel like I'm keeping it more so because it's Bluebell, you know what I mean? So at least I'm aware of it, right? Another one that's jumping out at me that's like, you know, I don't really, it doesn't spark joy, is Mooncat's Mercury in Retrograde, which is a magnetic, but it's one of their more subtle ones. I don't love it. I've seen it look pretty, you know, on other people, but for me, it's just, I don't know, too muted. And I don't think there are any others that I really would want to get rid of. Like shades that I like constantly go back to, one of my favorites, Cirque's Morning Tide. This is like a super light cornflower blue jelly. So soft, so beautiful. I love just shades like this in general. So, you know, by extension, I also want to keep Anchors Away, which is filled with a green shimmer. Oh my god, gorgeous. And Nocturne, which is maybe like a shade or two darker. It's actually like a little bit more purple. Maybe I shouldn't have pulled this out, but yeah, it's kind of like, you know, a periwinkle color. So I know I'm gonna keep those. Also really love these two shades. I feel like they're kind of similar color-wise, but obviously very different when it comes to the finishes. This is Island Peas Up Above and Fauve's Arabesque. I know a lot of people don't love this Island Pea though, because it's admittedly not like one of their better formulas as far as like being self-leveling and whatnot. I'm sure it would be a lot better if, you know, they just switched to the paddle brush, but I didn't really struggle too much with it where it's like so streaky or whatever. So it's like worth the effort for me. Okay, I might as well just keep going like in order from top to bottom because I'm pretty much just gonna keep all of these, I think. This one is Lurid's Potholes Trail, which actually, here's another shade that I forgot from Mooncat, but this one is most similar, I think, to River Styx. It just looks like it's a darker, like Mooncat is a darker, maybe more true, like teal base. I think Lurid is like a truer blue, but it obviously has a strong green shimmer, so like it kind of leans teal. These are super similar. I feel like on camera they look like they could be dupes, but I swear there's like there's a hint of difference. Let me show you. Let me just swatch it right now and you'll see that they're different. Oh my god, yeah, they are so similar. Like the Mooncat is just like barely darker. Like you see it in more like extreme angles like this, where Lurid again is just like a truer blue shade. But when you see it like in the light, it's harder to tell apart because they pretty much have the same green shimmer. Just said that I really love River Styx, but I feel like I would rather wear a lighter or more like a true blue shade. These next two shades are super old from Wildflower. Oh, maybe I did pull this out already. Well, here it is again. I'm still keeping it. It's Don't Play Coy. Yeah, let me set this aside because that one I shouldn't have pulled out. But this one is another beauty that honestly, you know, it's kind of looking a little similar to what's already on my thumb here. Can you see that like on the bottom half of my thumb? It is a very similar, like, it's more similar in color to the lurid than to the mooncat, I think. It's just so much more vibrant, so I do want to keep that. I think, if anything, like, maybe the closest is this OPI called Feel Beautiful. Yeah, that is, again, like super similar. It's like that little patch on like the lower right hand. That is really, really close. More extreme, like direct light. I think it is obvious that the OPI is a lot darker. Like hopefully you can see it too on camera here, that the blue base is darker. So I am gonna keep them because I do like actually really love those and wear them and stuff. So I can justify it in my mind, I think. So we have Pond Stew from Cracked Polishes collab with Audrey. This one took me by surprise. I normally don't love like flaky bombs like this. This does have like a decent amount of flakies. I feel like it's a little bit more subdued, and so I just really love the balance of this one. Also a huge fan of Audrey, so I just like want to keep it for that reason alone. But yeah, this was like a pleasant surprise kind of favorite, you know? The next two are from Fauve, which I absolutely am keeping. They're from the Impressionism collection. Well, this one is Impression Sunrise, and then this one is Almond Blossom, which is actually from the Van Gogh collection. So pretty. I love them. If anything, there might be like some similarities, maybe more so with like Impression Sunrise and Mermaid Bait, kind of like, especially that pinkish shimmer. Here it is next to Earth to Gaia, which is like a little bit more green or like sea foamy at least. And cat flakies here are acid washed and catfished. I know that I love acid washed, so I do want to keep this one. Catfished is really stunning, but it's also, I feel like this is one of those finishes, unfortunately, that even though it's like striking, so glowy, like the iridescent shimmer is so glowy, it's also so sheer. Like, look at that. That is basically a topper. It's one of those, you know, sheer shimmers that's just been pissing me off lately. I know it's beautiful when it's built up, but I don't want to deal with that. So we'll set that aside. This one is my like repurposed bottle, I guess, of Ocean Lies, where I originally had this in like the original Live Love Polish bottle, but then I had an empty top coat bottle, so I just like poured it in here. This is one of the dearly departed shades that I'm just so torn over, because it's like, how could you get rid of this? You know, it's just so freaking pretty. I mean, I'm pretty sure they got rid of it so they can introduce Mermaid Bait, but to me, they're so different because Mermaid Bait is blue, and then this is like that sea foam color. Bring back Ocean Lies, you know? Then the last couple of Mooncat blues here are Full Scream Ahead, which is the linear holo that's like kind of minty with a strong green shimmer. This is pretty, but unfortunately not one that I actually really wear. It's stunning, but it's fine. I'd rather keep like other Mooncat shades, you know? This is from the Powerpuff Girls collab called Don't Cry Bubbles, and this one is The Sea Between Us. Even though admittedly I don't love like all of the little flakies and glitters and stuff in the Powerpuff Girls one, I still think it's like so cute and like perfect for the collab. Especially love the base color in this one. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. But between these two, I think I do like The Sea Between Us a little bit more. This one is an easy keep. I mean, I only just got this like, I think last summer. You're gonna see this again real soon in my summer favorites. This is Saltwater Sassy. Unfortunately, I feel like I saw them discontinue the shade, which is so sad. I don't know how often it happens to you guys, but I feel like a lot of the times when brands will discontinue, you know, or retire polishes, they end up being some of my favorites, and it's just so frustrating. It happens so much with Holo Taco especially, and if it turns out that this one has been retired, I'm just gonna be heartbroken, because it's like, the cutest summer crelly. Another summer crelly that I love, but this one's like way older, so it's been retired, is from Noodles and Nail Polish, or Noodles Nail Polish, not Noodles and, but it's called Sand and Sea. And, you know, definitely like a similar base color, but very different glitter mixes in here. Still love wearing this in like, you know, 2, sometimes 3 coats, but with a matte top coat. Oh my God, so freaking cute, especially on a beach day. Okay, what other kind of teals do I have here? Let me like try to consolidate them a little bit more. This one is, I mainly wanted to keep this for the name. This is like one of the few OPI Zodiac polishes that I liked. It's Pisces the Future. Love it because it's like such a perfect Pisces color, but I don't really wear pearl polishes super often. I'd rather set it aside. I think I can be fine without it. These two, similar vibes, but different. This is Island Pea's Aria and Holo Taco's Hydro Power. I mean, even just from the bottle alone, hopefully you can see how blinding the holo is in Island Pea. Be hard to tell, hopefully from like this angle. You can see the difference in like their base colors, where Hydro Power is just like darker, maybe slightly more like teal leaning, right? Aria is just like a lighter sky blue sort of shade. This might be maybe those Happily Ever Aqua, which does have a blue shimmer. It's not like an exact dupe necessarily, but close enough. For all intents and purposes, I feel like these could be dupes, but I kind of want to keep both. But you know what? No, I won't. I'll set aside as much as it hurts, because it's so pretty, and you know, it's one of the birthstone polishes. Just, I can't justify it. Like, they look like dupes on my finger. But wait, speaking of like blue pearls, hold on. This is, what is this? Surf Naked. So this one, definitely very different. And as far as like the other blue pearl, I have Cracked Polishes Baked Blue, which is much darker, more of like a denim blue, maybe. I would rather set this one aside. I just prefer the color of this one a little bit more. Okay, some other shades I know I want to keep. Dimension Nails Blueberry Flax Milk, which is one of their jellies. It is kind of similar, but like not really, to Cirque's Aqua Jelly. Pretty sure I tried to like recreate them at some point, where I did like a layer of linen, the white jelly over aqua, and it was like, you know, more or less the same. So technically I shouldn't keep it. Even with like trying to layer the jellies, I don't love how it's like not the most consistent, you know, like sometimes it's a little streaky and you see like the darker streak of the blue underneath. So I'd rather just keep both, you know. The last couple of ones up here, oh my God, a new like recent favorite, which honestly this one kind of also looks like the OPI, but this is Starly's Polar Lights. But it is a magnetic, and it is just so stunning. So even though maybe I was being a little hypocritical about like not liking the color or whatever of that one, I would rather keep the Starly, because again, it's just a bit more versatile, where I could wear it on its own if I want like the OPI plain look, or I can magnetize it and it'll look insane. Next we have Cracked Polishes Breakfast at Monique's. Another super stunning one. And this one, which is so dried up. Oh my God, I need to put some thinner in here. Look at that. That is gunky. But this is Essie's Udon Nomi. Super cute name. I loved the collection that this was from. Love the color. It needs to be revived, but you know, I want to keep it. And this one is Picture Polish's Journey, which, you know, is kind of one of those like toothpaste colors, sort of like very minty with these like spearmint, you know, little flakies. But I think it's still pretty, so I want to keep it too. And I feel like, you know, it's unique to my collection. Then from these, again, I feel like just looking at them, I don't know if there's one that I would want to get rid of. I mean, I think the most obvious ones are these two Island Pea shades, which are Skate Date and Flashing Lights. They are, you know, more or less the same polish, but Flashing Lights was from the summer collection last year. Of all magnetics, so that's the main difference. It is a magnetic, aside from being, you know, the same kind of shimmer. And in this case, I know I've talked about, you know, oh, like magnetics are super versatile, right? Because you can just wear them unmagnetized or magnetized. But in this case, I think I would rather keep Skate Date just because I could recreate the magnetic, because I'm pretty sure these are like silver. And I have Cirque's, what is it called? Chemistry, which is a silver magnetic kind of, you know, topper. So I could just like layer that over Skate Date, but like I really love Flashing Lights. So, and I know also a lot of people actually don't like Skate Date because it's like a lot more sheer. If I remember correctly, when I compared these two, I did say that these like magnetics are a lot more pigmented than like the shimmer like sister shades, you know, so for whatever that's worth, right? But I'm gonna keep both. I feel like these couple of shades are like kind of similar as well, but again, just so so different. This Island Pea is a jelly, so I'm gonna keep that. Then we have Holo Taco's Never Tied Down, which is so beautiful. This is like also very, very similar to Island Pea's Blue Lagoon. I picked that up, I think like 2 years ago, maybe, or maybe it was last summer, but it just doesn't feel like it. But they are more or less like the same kind of polish. This is Be Kind Rewind from the Anniversary Collection, which by the way, I'm so sad that we just like never got more of this finish. I know it's kind of basic, so maybe that's why, but I don't know. At the same time, I feel like Holo Taco does do like a lot of basic like finishes. So I'm just surprised we haven't gotten more of that. But I feel like, you know, it's kind of similar in color to this painted polish that I have, but this is a micro glitter formula. So it's very different in my mind. Then these like powdery blues here, which I know I kind of like shared some other similar-ish shades. Again, they're just like so different in their finishes that I feel like I can just justify keeping them. The Spyglass from Holo Taco, and this is Giverny Glow from Fauve. They're just so, so pretty. I'm weak for them. And these also, you know, kind of in a similar vein, we have Sabretooth, which adore it. It's one of my favorite Mooncat shades. This one is Melting Clocks, which I feel like, you know, should be on the chopping block. I admittedly don't reach for this one super often because it just doesn't have a great formula. You know, it is a little bit of a pain to work with, and it's especially annoying because it's like this shimmery finish. So you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna set aside Melting Clocks because I just don't really reach for it. The last Mooncat blue that I have here is Wish I Hadn't Cried So Much from the Alice in Wonderland collab. Oh my god, this is one of the prettiest blues, just like the flakies. These two are basically the same color, but they're like a cream and then a shimmer. So, I mean, to be fair, like I know that I could add a topper, right? But I feel like a lot of the toppers, like they just don't have that super finely milled kind of finish. So like you see more of those shimmer particles, you know what I mean? And I just kind of don't love that. I mean, I guess maybe I should be doing 2 layers of the topper. I really want to keep the Apocalypse. This is Shock Jock, by the way. And then this is a super old shade from Bluebird back when they were called Lou It Yourself, which is why it has a little L. This is called Undecided. So you know what? This is like one of those shades of blue that even though I do love, I wear like super, super often. And here it is also, by the way, next to Olive's Scialla, which is like a little bit lighter. So, you know, Scialla is one that I would wear like more often, I think, between these two, but I still really love like the tone of this one. Maybe it's even closer. It's closer in value to LA Color or LA Looks. The shade of blue is like a little bit different, you know? So it's like I just need like one of each. Lastly, I have these shades that, you know, again, just looking at them, I want to keep them all. Most similar ones are like these 3. We have Rogue's Sense and Sensibility, which is one of their like chrome shimmers. Absolutely breathtaking. I love this finish. This collection, it is so stunning. This is Holo Taco's Cowboy Tears and Cirque's Tipsy Turvy, which, you know, kind of look like they have the same base, but then they have different colored shimmers. They are just so pretty though. Oh my God. I'm just gonna, you know, quietly put those down there. The rest of what I'm keeping here, we have this old KB Shimmer Polish Pickup shade called Beat You To It from 2022. This was definitely one of their like super old, like gritty kind of formulas. Like it's thick with 17 C's, but it's gorgeous. Oh my God, I love KB Shimmer Reflective, so you know I have to keep it. We're also keeping Linby's Frostlight, which is another Polish pickup. Beautiful, just so beautiful. Also, Lorraine from Ethereal. I grabbed this in like a Destash. Oh my God, it's just stunning. The last Polish pickup shade I have here is Polish's Send Nudies. Absolutely beautiful. Oh my God, it's just so pretty. I love polish. I only have like, you know, a handful of them in my collection. Most of them are purple, which you'll see in a future video. And lastly, we have China Glaze's Stay Frosted, which is technically another kind of like, you know, pearly shade. Definitely deeper than the OPI Pisces one. Also just like a different shade of blue entirely, where it's like, you know, a winter pearl, and then this is like a summer pearl. Do I really need two when I'm not like the biggest pearl fan? No, but this is so beautiful. It's just arguably one of the few blue kind of pearls, or just pearls in general, that I think is so stunning. And lastly, we have one of the newer ones in my collection. This is Sylvan Claw's Pondering. So pretty, just so magical. Oh my God, I love the fairy, like fantasy kind of vibe of this brand, and this shade especially is mesmerizing. So yeah, that's more of what we're keeping. Let me try to pretend to make progress. So let's go through my cobalt sort of blues, because I feel like a lot of these are creams and maybe similar. So, you know, hopefully I can get rid of like at least one, but it might be hard because again, just looking at them, I know that there are a lot of favorites. I have Nailtopia's Slay All Day and OPI's Ring in the Blue Year. This is definitely one of those like OPI blues. I feel like there's another shade like Tile Art to Warm Your Heart, just like other blue. Like I know they've duped themselves with this shade of blue, similar to how they do it with reds. So I feel like, you know, this is the one in my collection, so I do want to keep it. But I do really love this Nailtopia. I mean, I like Nailtopia in general. Their formulas are amazing. Do a quick little dot though to see like how different it is, because from how I see it in real life, the Nailtopia looks a little bit more muted or dusty. At the same time, it looks so similar. The OPI on the top and Nailtopia on the bottom. So they're different, but I'm gonna keep the OPI because I know there are just other, I mean, even from here, I feel like the Cirque, I mean, on camera, it's hard to tell, but the Cirque, which is, you know, the dot over here, it is a lot more neon and vibrant. So yeah, I do still want to keep that, but I feel like the Nailtopia is just kind of like an in-between, you know, of like this OPI and then this other Nailtopia, which is like a lighter cobalt, and I would rather keep that one. But even between that, I feel like these two are kind of similar. I'm pretty sure, actually, I had also compared this Nailtopia to Sally Hansen's original Pacific Blue, and hopefully you can see in the bottle that this is a little bit lighter. Like, I don't know what you would call this shade of blue, like a pastel cobalt, a more muted cobalt. Yeah, definitely different enough that I can justify both, or, you know, all three, because of course I'm still gonna keep Pacific Blue. You know, honestly, I think I should get rid of Mile High Club. Even though it's like stunning, it's like such a vibrant, like neon blue, right? It's just not one that I think I would wear. I would probably just rather reach for the OPI. Set that aside, especially because I would rather keep Sky High, which was like their other Vice blue. This one is just like a lot lighter in its tone. Like, I don't know if cerulean is like the right way to describe this. Hopefully you can like see just in comparison to those other darker kind of shades. So annoying. I feel like it kind of looks similar to like these blues, but it's not. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Maybe like azure? I don't know. But this is just a unique like tone. The other blue cream here that maybe is somewhat similar is Namaste the Night, which was from super old Essie collection. And I just remember thinking like, oh my god, this blue is like just everything. It's so gorgeous. First swatched it right up here because I thought it was going to be similar to Cirque Vice shade on top of that, but then I'm like, no, it's like too light. So then I swatched it here, but then it's too dark because color theory is just so fun. Stunning as it is, I think I would rather set this one aside just because, I don't know, I feel like I end up reaching more for like indie shades, boutique shades. It's like rare that I crave a drugstore brand, you know? Not to mention this one is just like so incredibly old, but like still barely used. So I feel like, I don't know, there's somebody who would rather have this. The last cobalt kind of blue cream that I have here is also from Dimension Nails, which I'm still so sad that they are going to be closing. Oh, she made some absolutely beautiful polishes. It's such a shame, but this one is Blue Morpho Butterfly. I have it swatched in that like top little spot there. So it kind of looks similar to the Essie right next to it. So yeah, I would rather keep this one, even though, again, it's not going to be around anymore. Last cream that I have here, I probably should have saved it for like my darker video, but this is Bluebell Bonnet from Cracked. This is another easy keep. It is a flawless one coater. But moving on to these shimmers, these are gonna be tough. I don't think I can get rid of any. The absolute like must-haves from here are these three. We have Cirque's Wipeout, which kind of looks like a little purple, but it's, I don't know, more of like a blue base. Then KB Shimmer's Splash Talking, which again kind of has like a hint of purple. It's kind of like a duochrome, you know, between blue and purple. And the same goes for Cracked. This is Infinite Thrill. Just absolutely stunning shades. Again, even though these are all technically in that blue-purple category with like vibrant shimmers, they're all different enough that I can justify keeping them. I, of course, also am going to be keeping Mooncat's House of Hades, which I know my label is all messed up. I know not everybody loves the shade, and I totally get that. I mean, I've seen swatches of this where it does not look flattering. Then these last three here that are more of these shimmers, oh my gosh. I know I really love the Morgan Taylor Little Mermaid shade. This one is Ride the Wave. This is Prism's Electric Horizon and Cracked Polish's B-Raz. Between these though, I do love the shimmer in Electric Horizon more. B-Raz is super beautiful, but you know, if I had to choose between these two, I'm gonna stick with Prism. But like I mentioned, I am unfortunately going to be keeping all of these blue creams, even though, you know, they might look similar, especially again like these couple of shades here, but as you saw swatched on my pinky, they are very different. Okay, so from these, the immediate standout, I know I'm gonna keep these, Cirque's Huga. It's a staple for my collection. Also a new like recent-ish favorite is Holo Taco's Moon Lagoon. Then we also have these Cirques down here. We have Velveteen and Aquamarine. Again, just classic shades, at least, you know, for me. And finishing up these Cirques, we have Spa Water and Spoonful of Sugar, which, you know, technically these two are probably the closest to being dupes. Spoonful of Sugar is more of the shimmer graphic formula though, so hopefully you can see like that hollow sparkle, while Spa Water, which I forget what they like renamed it to now that they brought it back, has the reflective glitter in addition to the shimmer. So there's no hollow, but I love both. I think if I really had to choose, I would choose Spa Water. over a spoonful of sugar. You know what? I should. I really should, because I know the only other like somewhat similar shade to spoonful of sugar is Spyglass. And I admittedly do like this one a little bit more, especially with like the blue shimmer instead of like the purpley pink. Also absolutely keeping KB Shimmer's Drawn to You. This is another one of their reflective polishes, one of the older reflective, so it's like super gritty. Definitely needs some thinner. I can't help it. I know there's some people who are probably like, oh my god, that's disgusting, get rid of that, but I love it, okay? I think it's just so gorgeous, especially in like the winter time. Oh my god, also absolutely keeping the Sincerely polish. I've shared this like a couple of times on my channel now. I miss these old glitters, like they're just classic old indie chunky glitter polishes. They feel like such treasures in my collection, so we're not getting rid of that. From the Island P shades, at least from these three, well, I guess quickly talking about this one, this is Low Rise from the Retro collection. I love this one. Snow Kissed, Elsa, and Alice from the most recent Magnetic collection. I like just put this away, and this video should be out after the release, so you know, I'm not worried about it or whatever. But I actually, you know, of these three, Alice is my least favorite. I think I want to hold on to it for now, but this is probably gonna end up in my destash pile just because I don't love the color combination. It reminds me of my university, even though the blue shimmer alone is like so vibrant, so pretty. I don't know, just like, you know, from this collection, this is like one of the weaker shades along with the gold. But between this and the Mooncat one, I would rather keep this one. We'll keep it for now. And then these two, again, I feel like I can't choose between them. They are just so pretty. Super similar though, like, you know, to the point where you probably don't need both. I feel like one super icy blue should be enough. So I do really love Elsa, and I have shared this a couple of times, I feel like, in, you know, winter favorites style videos. I wish it was a little bit more blue, because like in very extreme lighting, shimmer actually does shift to like a brighter cyan kind of color, and it's just so pretty. I just wish that was like the color in like the forefront, you know, but obviously being this like silver, it's also perfect for winter. Actually, let me see how these, oh my god, wait. Is this OPI basically what I want Elsa to be? Because it kind of is. I feel like it's almost an in-between finish of these two, because there's something about it that leans like a little bit like a foily metallic in a way, but it is like a noticeable brighter blue. My winter drawer is starting to get full, like specifically my Island P drawer, which technically is also shared with Holo Taco, but still, it's starting to get full. Practically speaking, you know, thinking of like my storage and whatever, and even color preference, it's better to stay with the OPI. I think I will still keep Snow Kissed, but I feel like this one also could be kind of on the chopping block. And then the glitter that I had here is Dream, but I just realized that I forgot to take out Holo Taco's Frostlight, which is another blue glitter. Obviously, I'm keeping this one anyway, but I feel like my bottle of Dream does not look the way that it used to. Like it looks so purpley or just like straight up silver. Like when I saw this, I'm like, wait, I pulled out the purple by mistake? That's not true, because the purple is Believe. So see, next to this, it does look blue. I don't know, in real life, it just kind of looks silver. So that is kind of a bummer. I'll double check the photos, and if it is faded, I'll just like set it at a good discount or whatever. I feel like if anything, it looks similar to Star Destroyer from Mooncat, which is not a glitter, you know, it's like a foily metallic, but this one, you know, I think this is another one I'm gonna set aside, because as stunning, like as blinding as it is, it's just like not blue, you know? At least not on me. I think I have seen a couple of swatches, and you know, maybe in this lighting, it looks like it could be blue, but like with my own eyeballs, it just is silver. These are kind of the similar like tone of blue, and then these are similar. So we'll start with these three here. This first one is Partly Sunny, that I know for sure I'm keeping. Love that one. Then these two, this is Cracked Polishes Like a Retro Dream, which I do like, but I feel like it's kind of similar to like other sheer cracked shades. Like I just got Merc from, I think, Hella Handmade, or maybe that was PPU. I'm starting to get them confused, but I just got that one and I feel like it's, you know, kind of similar to this one. Love the shimmer in here. Like I'm convinced, you know, she's used the shimmer before and it's in other polishes that I really like, but I think it's the base color that I'm not super crazy about. It's like a little too muted. I'll set that aside. And then lastly, this nail polys. This is I See What You Did There. Definitely another super like icy aqua kind of color. Here it is next to Snow Kissed, so you can see it's just so much more like white based. I think this would be really pretty for like winter, so I want to keep it for that reason, but I have to like make an effort to use it, you know? And finally, the last couple of shades here, I think these three are like the next most similar shades. So you know what, let me hold off on that because it's going to be harder to decide. I know I want to keep Forget Me Not from A England. It's like this super light, almost periwinkle, maybe like, you know, a cornflower kind of linear hollow. It is just really stunning. I do wish it was like a little bit more blue, but I do love the shade because I think it's just like very unique, because otherwise it would kind of look maybe more similar to Holo Taco's Happily Ever Aqua, and by extension Aria from Island P. So it is nice that it's a different shade, so I know, yeah, that I want to keep that. And then this one is from Nails Inc. called Brook, which is a super sheer, like super sheer kind of shade. One that's like a topper basically. So yeah, maybe if it was more pigmented, especially in like that aqua kind of base, I would be interested in keeping it because it has such a stunning, I mean, you know, maybe it is worth keeping like as a topper, because I was just talking, well, I don't know when I mentioned it, but when it comes to like shimmer toppers, they're usually not like super finely milled and densely packed, but this one is. The problem is that it just like, the base color is like so milky, so it's gonna affect the shade underneath, you know? It's like a little bit milky, so I'll keep it for now. I think I just have to like experiment with it, you know, as a topper. Because yeah, that's like what I would want for a shimmer topper. Something this finely milled where it's like a sheen. So yeah, finally my last three shimmery blues. We have Olive Ave's Agave, C&D's Fantasy Realm, which is from the winter collection, and the most recent one is Crack's Cloud 10. This is so tough. This is so tough. I feel like I need to, I know I already did compare at least Olive Ave to C&D. Okay, I was gonna say I'm gonna do an extra coat, but you know what? I don't even need to. I think I've already made my decision based off of the color alone, not even the formula, because they're more or less the same. Have Olive Ave on my pointer, the C&D on my middle, and then Cracked on my ring finger. I think the Olive Ave and Cracked are the most similar in terms of like that muted kind of like gray base where it's almost a little too muted. So color-wise, I just like the shade of C&D a little bit more, just being like a brighter, almost blue, you know? But yeah, I didn't realize how similar these would be because they don't really look like it in the bottle, and you know, I should have done a second coat, but at least from what I can see, the shimmer, even though it looks pretty strong in Olive Ave, it's more subtle on the nail. I think it does stand out more in Cracked, but it's slightly more of like that pearlescent shimmer, you know what I mean? Not brushstrokey, but just like it almost has a frosty look. So yeah, even though you can now already see a few of the ones that I'm keeping here, let me like set them all out and we can double check. Okay, so this is almost every single spring summery blue that I'm going to be keeping. The majority of them fit on frame. There's like, you know, 2 that are cut off here, but then I do also have a few more in this extra row, and then a couple at the top there. So definitely still a lot. And I can acknowledge, you know, there's still a lot of like overlapping shades. Again, even between the creams, you know, like, do I really need all 4 of these? I feel like I should only keep 1 from this pile, 1 from this pile, but I just can't make that decision right now, or possibly ever. So I do feel good about the ones that I'm keeping. I know it's excessive, but you know, I feel like I did make some progress. So let me show you my destash pile. So, you know, not the biggest, but like a good chunk, I would say. If anything, I do feel good about like the samey kind of colors that I pulled out, you know? Or even though they are pretty, I feel like I just have similar enough shades in my collection, or they are just shades that I don't really like all that much. Oops, sorry, I didn't realize the glare was so strong on the cracked polish there. I am kind of surprised though to see like just how many of these like lighter sort of icy blues I did take out, because I know that I generally do like those and wear that kind of color, especially more often than like the more bold shades of blue. But yeah, as you saw just like a few minutes ago, I had like a whole screen's worth of these lighter kind of colors that I just liked a little bit more. So, you know, this feels like a success to me. So that wraps up going through all of my lighter blues in my collection. As always, I'd love to know what you thought of this video, especially of the shades that I pulled out. Were any of them like your favorites, or do you also not really care for them? I really struggled going through all of my blues because even though I don't really wear them that often, I just really love it as a color, especially for polish. And as you saw, the bulk of my blues are the lighter like spring or summer kind of colors, so this is the time that I usually am more drawn to blues. But I feel like it's weird where it's one of those colors that it just feels like I don't wear it that often, but I just still have a lot of them in my collection. So I guess to like, you know, give myself some credit, I'm not like the best person when it comes to like actually wearing things, because I rarely do like full manicures, even though that might seem like hypocritical or something, especially as like a nail content creator, or even doing like, you know, my seasonal favorites. I usually use that as inspiration, more specifically for like nail art, but sometimes I will like, you know, do a manicure like just one color. More often than not, I feel like I'm just using a lot of shades in nail art, so maybe that's why it just feels like I don't wear blue. I'm not really sure if that makes sense, but I'm sure there's at least one person out there who totally gets what I'm trying to say. So I'd love to know if blue is that color for you, or if it's like another shade. I already can't believe that we're just like so close to the end of the rainbow, because in some ways it feels like I haven't made a dent, mainly because obviously since starting this series, there have been so many collections that have come out. So with like everything that I have destashed, it's just gotten replaced with like new things. So it's just, you know, a reminder that even if it doesn't feel like progress has been made, it has. And speaking of my destash, I know I had mentioned it in like the last couple of videos, I think, that I was planning on having this video go live and then immediately like listing my next round of colors. My destash won't be live starting today, like the day that you're watching this video. I'm hoping though to list everything like the first weekend of June. So if you are interested in shopping my destash, which is my second Instagram page, I'll have that linked down below. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!